Hey, it's Dr. Goggin. Today's topic is why you should consider eating organic. Now, I have to say, this is something I've just had my eyes open to over the past 3 years to understand why it helps a body to eat organic. Because in medical school, I really was taught that eating organic was not shown to be helpful. Now there is emerging research showing improved nutrient concentration in organically grown food. And not just, it's not just that that food has a higher concentration of nutrients, but also by avoiding the pesticides, the herbicides, all of the things that are applied topically to a conventionally grown crop, you will improve your health. And why is that? Because as you and I know, that when you take something that has pesticides on it, you don't really feel bad usually right away, right? You don't feel bad, and it's theorized to be safe, and you rinse those things off. However, if you look at the increase in the amount of glyphosate that has been used in the country over the past 20 or 30 years, and you plot it with the rise in autism, you see a shocking correlation. They overlay themselves quite neatly. And so the question is why, and it is starting to emerge that there are bacteria within our gut that are resistant to glyphosate. And so when you take in food that has Roundup on it, you're taking in a mix that affects who's living inside you, and it's really more about who is living inside you. So if you, for instance, have maybe a genetic tendency towards autism spectrum disorder, and you kill off a lot of the good bugs that are helping create balance there and have an overgrowth of what it seems that maybe Clostridium type bacteria overgrowth could be related or correlated to an increase in autism spectrum. We also see increased ADD with higher levels of glyphosate in the urine. So we're starting to see these clear signs that what's on our food is very important. So that's the organic part of it. So and we know that organic food also probably has some residues on it. You need to wash it off, right? And the other part of it is GMO. Why would we want to avoid genetically modified organisms? Well, genetically modified food is made so that you can put a bunch of Roundup on it. Okay, so it is changed so that it is not going to be, it'll be resistant to the Roundup, and they are spraying certain crops to increase the yield, and at the very end of right before harvest, they spray it heavily with Roundup, and that way it increases the yield. And if you get food that is made from this wheat or whatever the crop is that's already been ground up, well, you are getting a lot of residue from that pesticide. I just saw an amazing article in one of the toxicology journals about how the active ingredient in pesticides is what is required to be listed for toxic effects, okay? And now that we understand that all of these adjuvants that are also put into a product like Roundup, I just use Roundup because it's the most popularly used. In fact, I was just looking out my window, and right there's somebody with his Roundup just spraying. It's like, but all the other things that are within the mixture increase the toxicity of the main product, and it is misleading that we are not told about all the other things that are not the main ingredient that actually increase the effect of the main ingredient. So eating non-GMO, eating organic if you can. And how do we eat organic on a budget? Well, get to know your farmers locally. You can grow your own food. Many times they'll be at the end of a farmer's market. You can get organic produce a little bit less expensive. And then to try and make sure that you eat the dirty dozen organically. So the Environmental Working Group is a wonderful website, and they go through and they list which are the safest vegetables to eat, vegetables and fruits to eat conventionally, and which are you really should eat organically. So that's a wonderful resource. And as clean as you can make your food, it will benefit you. It is worth it to pay the money for good food now rather than to pay it for your medical bills later. So I hope that helps, and I will see you next time.